Well, it's that time of day. Time to put some stitches in this thing. I got my stitch holes done. I sanded my edges, but I haven't done any other edge work. I'm going to do that after I get the stitches in there. That'll give me a nice stable edge. And sometimes when you stitch something, you get like it'll pucker a little bit along the edge. So if that happens, I'll just take my sanding block to it and smooth that down before I do my edge beveling. Anyway, the thread I'm using is 1 mil braided polyester cord. Good stuff. It's a flat braid, and a lot of people complain about that, about it being flat, but that's what I like about it. I just like the way it lays. I like the way it looks. Oh, and got my needle and my thread. I'm going to go ahead and lock the needle onto the thread. First thing I'm going to do is put the thread through the eye, because obviously that's how you start it. Okay. That didn't work, did it? And this cord is also lightly waxed. I'm not too crazy about the kind of thread you get that's got big globs of wax on it. Got the thread through the eye. Then what I do is I go back an inch or so from the end. And since it's laying flat, this makes it a lot easier. Take the needle, put it against the thread. Pop the needle through the thread so that the thread is pierced by the needle. Bring that down. Pop. And it's locked on. Then we can go ahead and start a stitch line. I'm going to start at this end because I feel that the majority of the strain on this stitch line is going to be on this end, and I'm going to end it at this end. I like to start my stitch line at the end that I feel is going to have more stress on it during the product's life. Alrighty, let's get to it. Go ahead, put my needle in and even out my needles so I have the same amount of thread on both ends, or both sides rather. Then I'm going to go through here, give it a little wiggle to stretch the hole a little bit. Next needle goes on top. Then I'm going to turn it over and put the second needle underneath the first thread. Give the thread a little tug to make sure I didn't pierce it. Watch where I'm draping my threads. And pull it on through. Don't need to strangle it, just give it a little, just snug it a little bit, and then recheck my needles. You know, I never have problems with my threads until I have the camera on. They seem like they want to get caught on everything. Okay, I'm a little bit off there. That's why I always double check it to make sure that they're even. It doesn't make a difference with the stitch line, but it helps to ensure that I have enough thread on both sides as I'm stitching. Alright, let's do the next hole. Put it in, give it a little wiggle. Needle goes on top, pull it through, turn it over, and underneath. Give it a little tug, make sure I didn't pierce the thread. Pull it snug. And I'm going to do that for the entire stitch line. Okay, another thing about stitching. When I'm stitching, I always make sure that my needles are being held somewhere. Like right now, I have one needle in each hand. Now the needle is held in the leather, and I have the needle in this hand. I have both needles in this hand. This one comes back through. It's held in the leather. And again, watching my threads, I have a needle in both hands. It's just, I don't know, it seems more efficient to me to do it that way, because a lot of people, they'll pull it through and drop it, and then they'll be fishing around. Not a lot of people, some people, I'll say it that way. and then they'll be fishing around trying to find their needle for the next stitch. Now if I could do this with only one hand that works right, then it shouldn't be a big deal for people that have both hands that work right. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to keep it going, and we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, we're reaching the end of our stitch line, and I've been doing this all the way, just, you know, stitching it back toward me, second stitch going underneath the first stitch, same thing all the way down. That gives you that nice consistent stitch line, because it's not enough to be a strong stitch line. It's got to look good too. You know, you don't want to take all the time and effort and designing and all that and make something ugly. Nah. You want to do all the little details, and I'm always stressing details that make it look right. I can't find my stitch. Oh, there it is. Oh, no, that's not it. Why is it always the last one? Why is it always when I turn the camera on it starts getting difficult? Anyway. Now it's time to do my back stitch. Stick my needle in there. Push it through. And then pull it snug. Sometimes I need to use these thingies, flat jawed, square nosed, little needle pliers to help pull that needle through. Okay, then I'll go from the back side, do the same thing, and it wants to go. Okay, the second one wants to go underneath the first one, just to stay consistent on the angle of the thread in the stitch line. Okay, then I'll go ahead, do that again. Tell that one's a little snugger. Yep. And I know this one wants to go underneath, so we'll go ahead and put him underneath. Now what the back stitching does, is it's just how you end your stitch. You don't need to tie a knot or anything like that. This will never come loose, because when you punch your holes like I do, basically you don't remove any of the material. It just takes the fibers of the leather and pushes them apart, and then the leather will naturally push back together, and it'll actually grip that thread. And being that it's a 2-needle saddle stitch, it'll be a lot stronger than any kind of stitch you can get from a machine. Let's say one day invent a machine that can do a 2-needle saddle stitch. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? That's a machine I'd like to see working. Okay, that's enough. I'll bring this one back through one more time. Like I said, this right hand doesn't work right. But if I don't ask too much of it, and I put up with it, I can get stuff done. Okay, I got 3.5 back stitches, we'll call it. That's plenty. Cut threads off. Leaving about that much left. Take our lighter. Another thing, angle this away. I don't want to scorch the leather with the lighter. I just want to heat the end of those threads. They'll melt down, mash them in, and the stitch line is done. Next thing we're going to do is some edge work on this, and I could see that it didn't pucker along the edge. That's good, because I can just bevel it and touch up the dye and burnish it. I can see that I need more sanding right here. So we'll take care of that, and we'll take care of that edge next time.